So give me the countdown,
Okay.
Gulix.
Then we can begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fragments of Silicon, because some decisions are best made right at the moment.
All right, welcome to another installment of Fragments of Silicon. If you're watching the live version, sorry we're a bit late. We've been dealing with some technical problems, but not the usual technical problems we usually deal with. That is to say, Petty Fan was having some problems with the actual game.
More
One I'll-
specifically, with the game and streaming at the same time.
Yeah.
Because the game we have here is actually pretty graphically intensive, and trying to do that and streaming and at the same time, it takes a lot of processing power. So it's literally been like delayed. Like we almost had to nix the segment because everything was taking too long. But we've got it running well enough, I think.
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, introducing the regular crew here. Ogre.
96.
Gallix.
Hello.
Twilight.
Hello.
And, of course, Petty Fan.
Everything is burning. I mean, wait, what?
Yeah. Right. Petty Fan, why don't we start with you? So, in case you need to do further tweaking, you can do that while everyone else is giving their news disseminations for the week.
Well, let's see. My sister and mom are going to Nashville for most of next week. They're just kind of like going on a trip, and I didn't want to go with them, so. So I basically get the upstairs of the house all to myself. So I can listen to whatever music I want and not get yelled at.
Like, have you gotten your bed situation fixed yet, or are
Nope.
you still on the couch?
Still on the couch.
Like, how long have you been on the couch?
A while.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's like, the thing my dad wants to do with my bed, I'm not too sure of, because it involves putting, drilling through the frame of my bed, and it's not solid. It's basically a rectangular shape of steel that's hollow on the inside. So there are concerns of, me getting it on there and ripping the frame of my bed.
Which is usually bad.
Yeah, especially because getting another bed even closer to this around this would be nearly $1,000. Also extremely labor intensive to pull this damn thing apart and build another bed.
Right. Doesn't sound like there's any good solution here.
Not really. Like, I mean, unless we somehow learn to take up welding and actually weld these damn slats in correctly.
I hear that can be entertaining.
Especially on carpet. We'll get a real show.
Yes. Like, I hope you have insurance.
We do, but we're probably not going to do that. I mean...
Obviously. Like, it's like, I'd assume that, basic common sense would prevail here, rather than, the episode to a bad sitcom.
The worst Simpsons open ever.
Anyway.
Aside from that, we learned that we might actually be getting new smartphones when my sister and mother get back. So that's gonna be fun. Hooray for leasing not really requiring, you just need to give your phone back when you're done. Yay.
Right.
Aside from that, not a whole lot. Like, just
Okay.
been playing 14, been trying to play Project Cars 2, but it does not like my computer.
Right then. Galix, you're next.
I'll try to keep this brief so that we can get our guest going. I have played Project Cars 2 enough to get it set up, but not much of the actual playing thing, and hopefully I'll get to play some Trulon later tonight. I can't do Project Cars 2 while we're doing other stuff, probably. Outside of stuff for the show, I finished Samus Returns on normal mode with 100%, but with like 17 hours, which is way more than you need to get any kind of good endings. So I'm thinking about starting that over and trying to go faster, but I also started a game in fusion mode, which is very hard. Because even the basic enemies take off like 2/3 of a health tank, so...
Yep.
Really gets you to focus on the melee counter thing. So, anyway. But yeah, I haven't had as much time for games as I would have liked this week, so... that's all I really have. The weather's getting a little bit more seasonable, which is nice. I guess I'll pass after that.
All right. Ogre?
Let's see. Not much personal-wise. So, all quiet on the Western Front there. I knew I shouldn't have referenced that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's play-wise, we're doing Metal Slug currently, but we finished that up and we're moving on to our quote-unquote Halloween game of the year.
So, question about Metal Slug: is this like the last one you're doing, or are you moving to the like non-Neo Geo Metal Slugs?
I think we might do 6 and 7. What one's on the DS? Is that 7?
That's 7.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna do 7. I think 6 is probably it for us.
Like, I know Naka doesn't really like 7.
No, he's expressly said not 7.
To be fair, does anyone like 7?
I'm like,
I guess not. I heard 6 wasn't exactly well liked either, but I could be wrong on that one.
I never played 6. I think I have Metal Slug 7, but I never played it. Like,
other than that, so yeah, getting to something a little substantial for Halloween should be fun.
Yeah, I'm like,
Final Fantasy XIV's come along quite nicely, considering that last night I got both the weapon upgrade and body piece upgrade from the 3rd run, which means that next week, if all goes just as well, I'll be the first one in our group, I think, to hit the item level cap until 4.2 in 3 months. So I'll literally be running everything with going, don't need it, 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 definitely don't need it. Which is kind of fun and exciting. I've never actually managed to be at cap before that stuff, but hey, sometimes things works out nicely for you. Other than that, not really a whole lot going on around here, so.
okay. Twilight?
Well, our work has introduced a new online service for people.
Okay. Unexpected phone call.
Not the first time that's happened on the show.
Right. You were saying.
Anyway, yeah, for people with like children, mothers, to help basically get our products together so they don't have to shop in the store. Anyway, and I also been helping my mother with some homemaker projects, and besides that, I've been practicing Project Cars 2 and planning to play some Trulon later this week. And that'll be it for me.
All right, I guess it's my go. Let's see. The weather's actually getting nice around here. Like, it's not quite the crisp fall weather that I've been waiting for a while, but it's definitely getting, less hot. Florida is good. Like, it's like lower 80s into the 70s at night. Like, as opposed to, the regular 90, 95 to 95 range, which it is for like most of the year. Let's see, outside of that, I guess my Project Cars 2 report. I have actually played the game, not a whole lot, testing things out, and it's also, well, we'll get into this in a bit, but this being a simulation game, it takes a lot. There's a learning curve. It's like, especially since there are different types of racing. Like the kart racing handles a lot differently than, say, Mario Kart. Like, and it's kind of hard to get out of the mentality. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, I cannot be the only one who has been looking for like a shell or a star. Like,
Or even beyond that, if you're good at Mario Kart, you're drifting excessively.
right. Right. And, I have actually, part of that is because I put significant time into Trulon, the other game we're reviewing this week. It's an RPG. It's not a big one from what I see, but it's still it's still the kind of genre that commands a bit of attention. So, but there's still time to endeavor on both. Anyway, I think that'll about do it for the news this week, and merrily we shall roll along into the interview portion of the broadcast. And this week we have Cyrus Wesson of Bandai Namco Entertainment.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on the show.
No problem. Now, you're the third Bandai Namco rep we've had on the program so far.
Yeah.
We've had Dimitri on and we've had Steven on previously.
Awesome. Yeah, those are two great people on the team. I'm one of the social marketing specialists along with Dimitri for Bandai Namco. We split all the different titles, and I'm on Project Cars, so it's a blast to be here. Indeed.
Right, so before we get into the game, we'd like to get the background on the people who talk about these things. And we'd like to start by endeavoring, how did you get interested in video games? Both, as a hobby and professionally.
Cool. Yeah, I can talk about that. I've been playing video games since I was a little kid. I grew up with 3 much older brothers than I at the time, so they kind of put me onto a lot of different games and shows and anime that my generation wasn't really privy to at the time. So when I came along, I was playing the Atari and the Super Nintendo and the Sega Saturn up to the Dreamcast. Played everything from Virtual On to Phantasy Star Online to that really old Dragon Ball game on the Sega Saturn. And then I just kept on playing video games from when I was a little kid up to now. Something that was really big for me, actually, is my brother and I would sneak downstairs in the middle of the night when I was a little tiny kid back in Connecticut, and we would play video games up until 5, 6 in the morning. And then I'd go to school, 3rd grade, 4th grade, and not fall asleep in my class, but be pretty close to it. So ever since then, video games has had a pretty special place in my heart. And it's one of the best ways for me to kind of escape what I'm doing in life and just delve into a world that somebody's created for me.
Well said. And how did you get involved in the industry and Bandai Namco?
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Bandai Namco games. Um, I used to play a lot of the Gundam games from, Gundam versus Zeta Gundam to all the different Gundam versus titles and all the Dragon Ball titles. So I've been a huge fan for a long, long time. And I used to work in the music industry, and then I came back here, came back to Silicon Valley to work at Facebook, and then ended up game testing at Bandai Namco for a game called Little Nightmares. And after I game tested, I dropped off my resume, and sure enough, they called me. So it was kind of a stroke of luck. I've always wanted to be a part of the video game industry, but I never thought that I'd be working for Bandai Namco, such a emblematic company in my head and from my past. So it's really exciting. It's exciting stuff.
So it sounds like you started there recently.
Yeah, I've been there for about, I want to say, 9 months, so almost a year. Um, and it's been a whirlwind, and I do social marketing, so I'm on all the live streams. We manage the social channels. We're really the social arm of the company, if you will. We're able to, Dimitri and I are on the same team, so obviously he's told you a little bit about it as well. But we're really the people that get to interact with everybody that plays the different video games, right? Bandai Namco is such a huge, huge company, and a lot of these people don't get to actually see where their work is paying off, but we get to actually converse with everybody who's playing those games. If you've got a problem, you email us. If you just want to talk about the game, you email us. And it's a blast to just see how many fans there are, and to be able to talk to them, to answer questions, and then obviously the conventions and the live streams as well. You're really just there within the entire fandom. So it's a great time.
It sounds like it. And so, what games do you cover for Bandai Namco currently?
So right now I cover Project Cars, obviously. That's why I'm here, other than the fact that I think you guys are pretty cool. And I do a lot of the different anime titles. So anything from Gundam Versus to the different Naruto games, Dot Hack as well. Let's see what else. I do Sword Art Online. There are a bunch that are there. So mainly a lot of the different anime titles. Dimitri and I kind of split them up. And then I also do Project Cars as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah, previous to like you and Dimitri joining the company, Steven used to come on our program to talk about the anime titles.
Yeah, shout out to Steven. Steven Akane is actually at New York Comic Con right now.
I believe Dimitri is as well.
Yeah, both of them are.
Right. And we'll obviously talk about some of the other franchises you steward and, later on, but we want to get to Project Cars 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, obviously, it is a sequel, but like for the uninitiated, what is Project Cars?
So, Project Cars, for the uninitiated, is a racing simulator video game. It is the racing simulator that truly stays as close to the heart as possible to racing in an actual car. So it's definitely not for the faint of heart, but you're also able to, if you're just trying to jump into a racing simulator, we allow you to do that, and we allow you to get better. Project Cars allows you to, if you're trying to become a professional racer, or if you want to see just how it really is when you jump inside a Ferrari and try to take it on an ice track, you can do all of that in Project Cars 2. Project Cars 1 was a lot of fun for us as well. But Project Cars 2, we went back, well, SMS, Slightly Mad Studios, shout out to them, the developers, went back to all of the different mechanics and talked to different drivers, different mechanics or auto technicians or actual people in the car industry in order to get the most authentic feel for these types of vehicles. So we actually have a Built by Drivers series, which you can find on our YouTube channel or on the Bandai Namco website, where we really delve into these different drivers and engineers that will be working on, McLarens or Porsche or Corvette, and we interview them in order to find out, okay, why did you want to be a part of the actual science behind Project Cars and making it feel so authentic? So we've got a ton of different videos, and I hope that you guys go and check them out, because it's truly something to see people like Nick Hamilton from Mercedes Benz, or Patrick Long from Porsche, or Chris Goodwin from McLaren talk about just how close these vehicles really get to the real thing.
And I assume that different vehicles feel different, so to speak.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can get into a Honda and it's not going to feel the same as a McLaren. Absolutely. And a McLaren 720S will not feel the same as another McLaren. That's how deep and authentic this truly goes. And there's a small secret there, where SMS actually got a bunch of different data and statistics on different tire models, and how these tire models of how these tire models interact with different terrains, in order to show you just how authentic these cars really are, and try to delve into the science of what it feels like to be in this car on a dirt road, and to be in this car on an ice track. So it's pretty much as close as you can get to the real thing, especially if you have a wheel at home, a wheel setup. But you can also play on the game pad and have just as much fun.
Indeed, and on that note, this game has it has both triple monitor support and VR support.
Yeah. Yes, it does. Yeah, we've actually been at numerous conventions where we've shown both of those, both of those being supported by Project Cars, and both of them are a totally different experience. It really makes you feel as immersed in the game as possible.
Which one do you prefer, the triple monitor or the headgear?
I get a bit motion sickness from the VR supported headgear. So I think for me, if it was between that, it would be the triple monitor. I also like just being at home and playing on a wheel on one screen. I really do enjoy that. And then the gamepad as well. But I've done the VR a couple times, and it's really well, first off, it's incredibly realistic and incredibly immersive. But at first I wasn't very good at the game, and it was pretty intense to run into a wall and all of a sudden your entire body feels like you just crashed. But then once you get it, it's one of the best feelings ever, because you're completely immersed in this car. And obviously, if you crash, it's not going to be horrible for you, but you will definitely feel that.
Right. And I'm assuming the VR support is just headset.
The VR support that we usually do is heads at these conventions. We do headset, and then we will also put you in a seat as well, so that you can feel all the motion.
Right. I figured that was an option if someone actually has that kind of thing.
Yeah. It costs a lot of money. I think most of the seats that we show off go for about $58,000 to $63,000
Yep.
with the whole VR setup. But if you're able to ever experience it, obviously, you can come and try it at one of these different conventions that we're at. We're at almost every single one, honestly. And you can experience it there. And if you do have that money, I completely suggest wholeheartedly going out and getting one, because there's no other experience like it.
I'm like, I should say so, given the expense of it all.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So
Definitely.
going a bit further, how would you say, what is the hook of Project Cars 2 versus, say, your Forza Motorsports or your Gran Turismos? Why would someone pick this game on like the PlayStation or the Xbox over, those series?
Yeah. So I don't mean to ever badmouth any competitors. Obviously, I think all the games are great, but Project Cars is definitely going to be the most realistic. In case you are looking for the true experience, right? When you jump into a racing simulator, you're jumping into a racing simulator not because you want to just floor it and go as fast as you can. There are other games for that. But if you're jumping into a racing simulator, you're really trying to feel what it's like to be one of those race car drivers that's going to all these Formula Drift races around the world. And Project Cars allows you to do that. And on the second note, Project Cars also has this Live Track 3.0 technology, which, if I can do a little plug here, is why a lot of people are gravitating towards it now. So imagine that you want to take out a McLaren 720S, but you also want to take it out on, let's say, the Sonoma Raceway. But you also want that Sonoma Raceway to have a rain condition going on. You want to be driving through at the rain. You can set that condition, that rain condition, to lighten up throughout the second lap, and then you see puddles on the ground. It's very real time. Or you can set it where it starts raining on the second lap, it starts raining on the third lap, and the race gets harder. So you're really able to create your own ultimate driving journey with this game. In addition to that, there's a wide selection of cars, as well as motorsport disciplines, as well as layouts and tracks. I think it's about 180 cars, and obviously that will be supplemented with DLC in the future. There's also 130 different layouts of 60 different tracks, and the real cool thing is that if you want to mix up your racing, you can have a rallycross race going on with tons of rallycross cars, and then also just throw in a truck in there, and throw in a McLaren, and see how you fare against that. It's truly one of the best customizable games we've ever seen. And in addition to all of that, it's on all three platforms. It's on PS4, it's on Xbox One, and it's on PC. So you can experience it however you want to.
Right. I suppose I should ask about a potential Switch version, because that is a platform that exists, but I have a hard time seeing this game being downported enough to reach that platform.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to a potential Switch version just because I don't have that information. What I can say is that if people really, really do want a Switch version, I know the Switch is extremely popular right now. Let us know on our social channels, on Bandai Namco Entertainment, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Let us know everywhere, and we will definitely let the devs know that that's an ask. And the devs are extremely, extremely receptive to everything that's going on social media and everything their fans say. So you can also just let them know on the Project Cars website, and they will definitely receive that information.
Right. So have you personally interacted with Slightly Mad Studios?
Yeah. I interact with them a lot, actually. It's kind of part of the job.
Noted, but there have been people who are kind of, uh, I guess the word would be separated from the development team, so to speak.
Right. Because of the first game, I'm guessing.
Yeah, yeah, that kind of thing. But it's also, it kind of differs from company to company.
Right. Well, I can say that from my interactions with Slightly Mad Studios, once again, they're extremely receptive to all of the different asks from the community. That's definitely shown in just how Project Cars 2 is such an advancement from Project Cars 1. You can tell that the developers, Slightly Mad Studios, really listened to what people were saying and really listened to what people wanted to see in the game, and they truly delivered. And in addition to that, the people at Slightly Mad Studios are just incredible guys. They truly care about racing, and cars just in general. They're all car buffs, and that's why there's so much heart in Project Cars 2, which you can definitely tell just by playing the game.
Indeed. There's so much to cover. Like, it's a
Yeah,
massive game. Like,
absolutely.
I'm having trouble. Like, okay, do I want to talk about this? Do I want to talk about this? Like, I suppose. Okay, exactly what is new in this for Project Cars 2 that wasn't in Project Cars 1 or has been improved?
Yeah, I would say that there are a couple things. There's the amount of options. The customization is much more in depth and tuned. There's a lot of different car selection, track selection. In addition to that, the Live Track 3.0 is really big for a lot of people. We've seen on the social channels, just being able to customize your ice track that turns really sunny at the end, or having some droplets of rain come in the very beginning of the track, and then around lap 3 there's just a puddle that you have to avoid. So things like that are incredibly new and wanted, I would say, just from what I've seen from the social channels. In addition to that, there are the big thing would be the data that went into preparing this game, with those tire models and with how these cars are engineered, because although Project Cars 1 attempted to be as authentic as possible, they didn't have true engineers working on the game along with them from start to finish. So that is definitely telling.
Hmm. Indeed. And one thing I wanted to ask about that, does that extend to like the sound design? Like, are we getting like the authentic engines and the and such of the like the authentic sounds of each car?
Yeah, absolutely. They made sure to make this as authentic as possible. Even when you hear like a tire screeching, and you can change the volume of all of those different sounds however you want, depending on what you want your race to feel like. But when you're just racing and you're doing, let's just say you're doing a drift race, and you can hear those tire screechings, that is because of the specific tire models and how those sounds have been implemented.
It's good to hear that. And uh, going along to what's new, like, are there any new car manufacturers, actual models, raceways, that race types?
Yeah, there's a ton. And really, you just have to kind of jump in and experience it for yourself. We actually have on the Project Cars 2 website, there's a cars page where you're able to go and see what group these cars are in, see if your favorite car is there, and it's got all the different pictures. So I definitely want to plug that because the developers have done a great job at presenting what is in the game for everyone to see.
Hmm. That is also good to hear. like, and getting deeper into like the race types. This being like, what kind of motorsports are we seeing here? Formula One, rallycross, what have you?
Yeah, you're seeing everything from open wheels to GT, rallycross, touring, prototypes, and then we'll be presenting more as time goes on. There's just so much that you can do in this game that we just really want to get it in the hands of as many people as possible, because there's no reason not to feel like you are learning how to drive on this game. If you want to learn how to drive a GT racing discipline, then you can do that. And if you want a truck in that race as well, you can do that as well. So that's really what we're trying to do.
And in terms of tracks, are they all like real tracks that you can find in real life, or are they like, tracks for the game that were made, or a mixture of both?
Yeah, I have to check on that, whether it's a mixture of both or not. But the majority of the tracks are all real tracks around the world, that you can tune however you want. I think I said this earlier. There are 60 tracks with 130 different layouts. So you can go onto, the Sonoma Raceway and change it to what you want. And we also have a page on the Project Cars 2 website that goes into the track design and gives you all the different tracks that you can jump on. So if you're ever trying to get a deeper, more in-depth look at what tracks are there, you can do that on the Project Cars 2 website.
Good to sound. Good to hear. Good to hear as always. And is there any like race data? Like, are there any motorsports that they have an entire season of in the game, and like it has the real races from that season?
I would have to check on that. I'm not particularly versed on the actual racing discipline history, but let me check on that, and I'll let you know for you to let your viewers know on the next show. For sure.
Enough. Okay. Geez. Let's see, and we haven't even gotten to the esports yet.
Right.
Like, I suppose now is as good a time as any. As I saw, in the game, there is a significant focus in the online stuff for esports.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say on the esports on the esports subject, we haven't announced much yet. We want people to really get a feel for the game first, and be prepared to play with your friends, play with your enemies, do whatever you want. But this is a competitive racing simulator, is what I will say. So be on the lookout on our social channels for more information on the esports and community events. I will say that I've been working with Von Gittin Jr., one of Ford's drifters, and we've talked about numerous community events that we would like to prepare for the community once people have gotten their hands on the game for about a month or two. So if you stay tuned to the Bandai Namco social channels, you'll get more information on that. But first, the first thing, as I was saying earlier, is to get your hands on the game and get comfortable with it. I was listening to you guys talk in the beginning about how this isn't something that you can just jump into and floor, right? This isn't you really have to be prepared to learn how to play this game. And I do want to share one little tip for everybody who's jumping into it now. and this is actually something that Vaughn told me. You need to think of your wheels or your hands and your feet as being connected by a string, right? So whenever you are turning or you're inflicting any pressure on that wheel, you need to bring your foot a little bit off of the gas, because that's just how cars work. And too many people jump into this and are like, okay, I'm just going to floor it the entire way. Well, if you do that, you will crash. Uh, and then you've got to.
You can't accelerate into turns
Yeah,
easily.
yeah, you can't do it. You really have to learn how this car maneuvers around the racetrack. And once you do that, it's going to feel so much more amazing and fulfilling. So
Yeah. Yeah. Another. I hesitate to use the word secret, but I'm like.
oh, give them a secret.
Well, it's like racing. Well, in terms of racing games, they're one of the reasons why we have analog triggers to simulate pressure on like the gas and brake.
Right.
And it's actually like one of the impediments to like bringing games of this nature to modern day Nintendo platforms, because they don't have analog triggers, and that really does make a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Maybe I'll unremap the brake and gas to the face buttons then.
Really, dude?
I put them there. I put them there just because I'm not comfortable having primary controls on the triggers.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can have them on the face buttons, but yeah, I would recommend putting them on the triggers. Anyway, let's see. So there is a season pass for this game.
Yes.
How much can you go into detail about it currently?
Not too much has been revealed yet. For the season pass, there is a couple extra cars that you can get immediately from the Japanese car pack. As well as I have to check exactly on the offerings, but we will be there. I will say that we will be unveiling some new content very soon with this season pass.
Right. So outside of the season pass, are there going to be any either DLC packs or standalone DLC or loot boxes?
Yeah, absolutely. There will definitely be DLC to go along with the game.
Just as long as it's not loot boxes.
I will let them know.
I'm like, I've seen what they've done to Forza. It's not pretty.
Yeah, I was about to say, you wanna pull your talons out there, Adam?
Well, not so much talons. Just jeez, but that's a topic for another time.
Right.
Anyway, back to Project Cars 2. Now, one of the things I've been hearing about, like the biggest issue, I suppose, is the game has apparently launched with a whole bunch of bugs.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if how much of an issue has this actually been, because how do I put this? People can be very passionate online about things. And
right.
Yeah, we haven't actually experienced this ourselves too much, but just like have you heard about this and what's up?
Yeah, definitely have heard about it. We're monitoring those channels and our emails all the time. And SMS, I will say, also knows about it. Slightly Mad Studios is very diligent about addressing those issues. So once again, stay tuned and we'll have some information soon.
Okay. And now in regards to the consoles, how is performance on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4?
From where I'm sitting, I usually play on the PlayStation 4. I will say, obviously, it's going to look better on the PlayStation 4 Pro. it's going to look the best on PC, but PlayStation and Xbox still look absolutely beautiful. I was about to swear there to give you guys just how beautiful it looks, but I held my tongue. I don't know how your viewers feel about swearing.
Swearing's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
I
it's
will
like,
hold
I will
myself
ask, do you know if there's been any Project Scorpio testing or Xbox One X or whatever they're calling it now?
Yeah, I can't speak on that, unfortunately. That is something to definitely ask the developers, and we're working on some things to get the developers in front of more people very soon. So stay on the lookout for that.
right.
But
And
basically, they're working on Xbox One X support, is basically all you can say.
I can say that they are definitely trying to revamp and accentuate the game.
Fair enough.
And in regards to the PlayStation 4 Pro, is that native support?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so it is true 4K resolution.
Yes. And actually all of our videos as well, if you go onto any of our YouTube channels or anything like that, are all 4K as well.
Right, but you know, you can also get 4K on the PC. From what I'm seeing in Wikipedia, apparently this game goes up to 12K. Like,
Yes. It's incredibly visually stimulating.
It's like, I'll be honest, I didn't know 12K was a thing. It's like,
It is, but it requires a lot of money.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, I mean,
that $60,000 chair as well.
yeah, I'm like, given how expensive like 8K monitors are, please. Like,
Right.
anyway, now in terms of like stock PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, is it 1080p 60 frames per second?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're getting a good performance even if you own the, say, baseline of systems.
Yeah, it'll look beautiful on whatever system you're putting it on.
Well, that is actually reassuring.
Yeah. There are a lot of games that aren't that scalable, and they look kind of crap on lower end systems.
Yeah, we've been playing it on the PS4 and the Xbox. It looks beautiful.
I suppose in terms of online multiplayer, do you think there might be any possibilities for crossplay?
I can't say that there will be. I haven't heard any of that in our communications, but that's something I'll bring up for sure. I think that crossplay brings about a whole new realm of issues, including just first-party relationships.
Yeah.
So that's why many games haven't been able to do it. But that's definitely something I'll bring up.
Right, I wouldn't be expecting like PlayStation 4 versus Xbox One.
Right, you're thinking Xbox One versus PC, right?
Yeah, or PlayStation 4 versus Xbox or PC. I've seen. So, and that would be a nice feature to have, especially.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially since this being a racing game, they're not encumbered by controls that other genres suffer from.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very good point, and I'll bring it up in our next meeting for sure.
And especially because the big Xbox and PlayStation now have pretty good racing wheels. Because they've all had fairly big first-party racing games come out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And indeed, in terms of racing wheels, what is supported?
I can say that we've been using everything from Hori to Thrustmaster to Logitech to let's see what else is there. Fanatec. We've been using all of those in the office, and all of them are supported. I haven't come across one that's not supported yet. So when I do, I'll let you guys know.
And this game does take advantage of force feedback for the wheels that have it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Adam, you still there?
Uh-oh. Might have lost him.
Oh boy, live broadcasting, everybody.
That's how it goes.
It's practically the catchphrase around here when something bad happens.
Yeah.
What happened? What happened?
You.
We didn't
Approach
hear
there.
you for a bit.
Sorry. I was distracted by something.
Mm,
Like, anyway.
Problem.
Okay, if you're
Spider.
back, that's good.
Yeah. Anyway, exactly is the world of mass development?
I'm sorry, I don't recall where that's coming from.
The world of mass development, I believe, was the crowdfunding platform that Slightly Mad Studios used.
Yeah, of course. So WMD are they actually truly funded the first game. It's a group of a lot of really dedicated gamers and racers who love to play racing games. Excuse me, I had something in my throat. And they've been extremely helpful in promoting this game as well, because they just love racing games and they've loved Project Cars since the first one, and that's where a lot of the suggestions for Project Cars 2 have come in from. So Slightly Mad Studios works very closely with WMD and listens very closely to them because they had so much to do with getting the first game out to market. And if you just go on to YouTube and search WMD and Project Cars, you'll see a ton of awesome videos of the WMD guys driving.
And I suppose I'm guessing that they didn't use the crowdfunding for the second one then?
No, they didn't.
I'm like, so does
Well,
that mean that...
if you do crowdfunding right, you don't need it as much.
Right. Right, but see, it's also WMD is a different kind of crowdfunding platform than than your Kickstarters or your Indiegogos, because this was actually more of an equity platform, in that there was like profit sharing and financial rewards going on here, and because like it was only used for like this game or whatever, it's not as well known, because when people think crowdfunding, they think Kickstarter and only Kickstarter, and that's not exactly accurate, because there are other platforms out there. So designations are important, but it's good that everything has worked out for Slightly Mad Studios so far.
Yeah, they're very happy with how the community is receiving it, and they're very receptive once again to what everybody is saying and how people are liking the game. So if you ever do have an issue, definitely send them or me an email. You can reach me at cwesson@bandainamcoent.com, and I'll obviously send that over.
Indeed. And I don't think we've talked about the soundtrack yet. It's actually kind of interesting because there is like the soundtrack's like in all the in-game menus, and when you and the actual races, there is no music.
Right.
Was there a particular reason for that? Because I know other games, kind of. They have the soundtrack in the race as well.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to being as authentic as possible with the experience. If you're jumping into a race and you've got the radio on, you're probably going to be a bit distracted, especially with all these cars around you. So it also goes back to wanting to be able to present the different car sounds, engines revving, tires screeching, transmission going as well as possible and as clear as possible. But I think the main reason is just authenticity.
I can see that, especially since, it's like from the driver's point of view as opposed to like if you were in the stands,
Exactly.
like if you were watching the race, you'd probably be hearing music. Versus, yeah, obviously you have all your concentration going on the race.
Yeah. Well, if you were in the stands, you'd hear the music of the car's engines revving, which is the music to my ears, at least.
Yeah. Different races have different, priorities, let's just say.
Yeah, of course.
I'm thinking of like
I've
NASCAR.
been to them.
It's like I'm thinking of NASCAR here where they do play music.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, now is the game out in all territories?
Yeah, it's out. It's out everywhere. It came out on September 22nd. Go and grab it. You can grab it on any retailer that's out there, or you can grab it from the Bandai Namco store, right? Obviously, Amazon and GameStop, all of them have it as well. But yeah, wherever you want to grab it, we just want you guys to have it, because it's just a great game. And I'll also do you guys have a way to blast out a couple codes to your followers? I'll give you guys some codes as well, for any followers that are listening or wherever you want to place them.
It's like we could do it we have a few ways. We can do it on the we can do it in the Twitch chat.
We also have a Discord for anyone watching that. We can possibly do it there because I think I can rig up Moobot to do that.
We can
Cool.
we can post them on the Steam group, or we can throw them up on the social media.
Cool.
But yeah, it's like we'll figure we'll figure the best way out after the interview.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Anyway, I suppose moving forward, past Project Cars 2, another game you were involved that just launched is Gundam Versus.
Yeah. Gundam Versus just launched last Friday, actually.
Yeah, and this is where I turn it over to Galix, Go Gundam expert.
Hey, Galix.
Well,
Gundam expert.
Now I feel a little bit singled out. Unfortunately, I've never had many of the systems to play these games on, but I am a big fan of the Gundam series in general. So this is a new entry in a pretty. There've been a Gundam versus different things for a long time, and this is just the latest one, and it's just Gundam versus, and it's opened the door open to as much stuff as possible.
I'm sorry. Repeat your question real quick. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm also grabbing a couple codes for you guys. Okay, now I'm ready.
So there's been kind of a Gundam versus series.
Yeah.
And then this one is just Gundam versus, and it's trying to include stuff from all over the Gundam.
Oh, got it.
universe.
So I'll talk a little bit about Gundam versus as a whole. First, this is the 15th year anniversary of Gundam Versus. Gundam Versus is a huge arcade game out in Japan that has been going on for, again, 15 years. One of my friends has actually said that she'll be in Japan and checking out the arcade and go up with her quarter to play Gundam Versus, and then she looks behind her and sees all these men in suits that are waiting their turn to play Gundam Versus right after work. So it's got a big following in Japan, and it actually has a huge following out here, which we didn't really truly know about until we saw just the reception with Gundam Versus. Now, this game is one of the first to be introduced to the West at the same time as Japan, and it's being built up from the ground up for the PS4 system. So we're really excited to get it in the hands of, again, as many consumers as possible, but specifically Western consumers who may not have had all of the luck to play the other ones. A lot of the Gundam Versus series has been ported over from Japan, or there are numerous people out here that have gotten the Japanese versions out here and then modded their PS4 in order to play it, and they're translating, different menus online in order to find out how to even start a battle. So for these fans in this community to have a game like Gundam Versus that is just built for them to play with a robust online system and a decent amount of single player content where you can learn the game in order to take it online, we're really excited to have that. I will say that Gundam Versus is a competitive game. It has always been known as a 2 versus 2 online multiplayer game or arcade game. So with that, there's not as much story content as maybe there has been in the past for some of these Gundam games. But that's because we give you 94 different mobile suits to start with,
Yeah.
and we want you to jump online and fight as many people as possible, fight your friends, fight your rivals, do whatever you want. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends who do have PlayStations who are very excited to be able to get this without jumping through any hoops and stuff.
Yeah.
And for those who aren't as familiar about it, it's two. You said 2 versus 2, and this is 3D sort of arena style. I mean, insofar as there can be an arena for 20-meter robots.
Yeah, exactly.
Combat, and this is one of the interesting things that I found about it is that they don't try to make everything equal, because that would be dumb when you have Gundams and Zakus and some even more powerful than just the basic Gundams. But they make it so that basically you effectively get more respawns if you're using a weaker unit.
Right. So yeah, I'll touch on a couple things there. The first is that, like I said, it's a 2 versus 2 online fighting game. But in this game, we've also introduced 1 versus 1, as well as 3 versus 3, which is kind of a party mode that you can play with all of your friends. So it makes the game a lot more diverse and chaotic and versatile. But it's a ton of different fun. Ton of fun. But with the different mobile suits, right, there are 94 to start with. I think that we've introduced about, I want to say 7 or 8 DLC mobile suits as well. And every mobile suit has a specific move set. Right, so you can pull off all the combinations to pull off these moves are the same with how the controller is set up, but each mobile suit has a different move set that's assigned to that button combination. And with that changes up how the tiers of the mobile suit are determined. So you've got mobile suits ranging from 500 to 200 cost, and based off of how much your mobile suit costs, that determines how many times you can die with your partner. So it's a huge strategic play as well. So when you've got somebody that's going out in a 500 cost mobile suit, you might want to play the support role instead and grab a 300 cost mobile suit or something like that, so that your partner, the 500 cost mobile suit, is able to do the most damage while you're supporting them from behind, making sure that they don't get hit, etc. But there's also players that go out with 500 and 500 cost mobile suits and just try to tear the place up. And it all depends on how you want to play, or how you're synced with your partner. And then with that, there's a ton of different strategic advantages from, if you're using 300 and 200 cost mobile suits, you're able to dash around and really sustain the battle as long as possible, tiring your opponents out, maybe switching targets as many times as possible in order to confuse your opponent. While there's just a ton of different ways that you can play, and we actually have been once again promoting this game on all of our different social channels, but on YouTube especially, we have character trailers that have been going out where you can learn about the different move sets that these mobile suits have from all these different series. There are actually about 17 different series represented in Gundam Versus. And with that, we've been also presenting different tutorial videos because we know that people who pick up this game want to learn about all the intricacies of Gundam Versus that's been going on for 15 years. So there's a ton of different stuff that you can find from the community, and we'll be echoing that on the Bandai Namco channels just so that we can get more people to play this game and love this game as we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like that's a clever way of balancing things in a series that is sort of inherently based on asymmetrical battles.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can watch Gundam and you'll see battles that are incredibly asymmetrical, right? When anybody's going up against the Big Zam, it's terrifying. That dude is huge. But you're truly able to recreate those battles or make your own. It's kind of like creating your own adventure in this game.
Mm-hmm. I wish I had more specific things to ask about it. I'm really glad that it's coming out here, and hopefully I'll get some chance to play it at a friend's house or something. Or maybe I'll actually finally pick up a PS4 at some point.
Maybe it's time for you to pick up a PS4. Tell you what, if you pick up a PS4, I will send you a code for Gundam Versus.
It's like, I played the open beta a little bit, and I thought it was interesting. It's just I don't have like anybody to play with nor PS Plus, so it's like,
Right. Definitely need PS Plus to play the online component.
Yeah.
But there is a solid amount of single player content.
Yeah.
We've seen from a bunch of different people within the community talking about how there's not that much single player content, but I would go so far as to say that that's not all that correct. It's really that there's not that much story mode content.
Yeah. Like, they're not going to show you, hey, why are all these mobile suits together? It's like, shut up and go kill things.
Exactly. You're not going to jump into Gundam Seed and learn the tale of Atherin, right? You're going to jump into some mobile suit, the Yakushiki, and battle against whoever it is that you really want to. If you go into the free battle mode, you can pick and you can practice, or you can jump into the other two modes, which are trial battle and ultimate battle, and you either face waves of enemies or you're basically doing one long run through different stages that vary in difficulty. And the difficult ones are extremely hard, I will tell you that. So when you jump in and say that there's no single player content, I'm gonna say, okay, show me that you've completed all of the different trial battles, and then we can talk.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my favorite series, G Gundam, to have some suits put in there.
Yeah, that's my favorite too. So
but everything would be 500 points except for the Nether Gundam.
To be fair, God Gundam is kind of broken. Have you played Dynasty Warriors Gundam, friend?
Well, there's also the question of like how many moves would it even be able to have out of the like. I mean, seriously, like it develops like 6 different moves in the second half of the series that are used but yeah, no, it looks like there are obviously some things that aren't included, but just skimming through the list, there's not a whole lot that jumps out that isn't included, which is really nice for such a intellectual property rich franchise. You know, there's a ton of stuff, and most of the stuff that you'd be looking for, I think, is there, unless you're like got someone who's like the fan of some really obscure thing.
Yeah,
which actually,
definitely.
looking at the list, I see that there is in fact no Zancock, but I'm not shocked at that.
Well, I definitely want you guys to pick it up, and let us know what you guys think. We're really excited about this one. I personally am a huge Gundam fan. So to be able to work on it was a dream come true, and to see the wealth of the community that's here in America or here in the West, these players that have been translating these menus just to play this game and just to learn the different strategies and tactics and different move sets, right? It's almost like there's just so much that's hidden in the battle engine of this game. That's just really incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to wind things down at this point because we are nearly out of time. Like, it's actually about 10:30, and
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that's
Yeah.
not going to leave much time for the topic. I'm partially it's because we started late, but also
yeah,
there's always a lot to talk about when we're talking with Bandai Namco.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah,
You
well,
know,
we love talking to you guys. I know Steven's been on a couple times, and Dimitri, and we just love talking about video games.
indeed. And on that note, I am pleased to say that we will have Cyrus back on the program soon. Currently, it's looking at November 8th.
Yeah.
And on that episode, we're going to be talking about .hack GU last recode.
Oh
And
boy.
Fun stuff. I
Yeah.
hope you guys are hack fans.
I am.
All
So am
right.
I.
We're gonna see if we can get Knock onto the program because he's an occasional correspondent who happens to be a very big .hack fan.
Yeah.
In fact,
Awesome.
he's done a series of Let's Play that you can find on YouTube.
I don't know if the full of GU is up because of Victor Entertainment, but
He was having some problems with that, but I think it's mostly intact.
yeah.
And yeah, I think he is planning to do Last Recode at some point.
He's
But,
said on stream he wants to do it, but he just needs to burn through the first
Right.
4 or first 3.
At any rate, if there's ever an episode where he would be needed, that would be the episode.
Mhm.
Anyway, so yeah, no topic of discussion this week. We're probably going to save what we had this week for 2 weeks from now because we have another topic planned for next week, and
A time-based one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's because we're talking about Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga next week because the remake is coming out on Friday. And very quickly, let me get through the week ahead. On Sunday, we will be doing reviews on Trulon the Shadow Engine. I believe that's how that's pronounced. Like, that is a card-based RPG from our friends over at Head Up Games. And yes, we will be reviewing Project Cars 2 as well. We'll probably be giving out some codes during that review. We'll figure out the best way we want to do that. It's like, let's see. And next week there is no Tuesday episode. On our main Wednesday show next week, we will be having our old friend John Pickett from Manga Gamer. I should hope all of our audience, all of our regulars know who he is at this point, considering what, it's in the double digits now.
Yeah.
It's like, so we're going to be back to regular formats. We got through the mega announcement set last time. So this time the centerpiece is going to be a visual novel called Space Live Advent of the Net Idols. It's like, I haven't had a chance to delve into this. I believe we got the codes yesterday. Plus, usually, dive into that next week. So, finally, MSP. What's going on MSP?
No guest this week, and Mac hasn't called it off, but next week we do have a guest.
Yes. All right. So on that note, I wish you good gaming, and we'll see you for Moonhawk Studios presents.
All right. Thanks for having me.
No problem.